Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning to the village. Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you all would hit like and share, I'm not sure if I am being shadow banned, if what the algorithm is doing, if it is pushing my post down to the bottom. Not sure, but as of late, I've noticed that folks either aren't receiving notifications that I'm on, at least on Facebook, but you can always watch on YouTube, where I am also streaming live on the Pink Robe Chronicles page. So good morning. Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Rihanna. Good morning, Byron. Good morning to everyone who I'm seeing over on YouTube. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Antoinette. Good morning, Chelsea. Good morning, Angel. Good morning, Deirdre. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Carmen. Good morning, Chayla. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Not sure what is happening, what is taking place. But good morning. I am here is about what I can say. Yeah, you're no longer receiving notifications. I don't know what's happening. 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 Can sum up so much of what I am feeling at this express moment. Good morning, Tommy. Good morning, Shalise and Natasha and Maya. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is the week, friends. Good morning. Good morning. This week's announcements. Greetings to those of you who are joining. I am Melva Sampson. I am the curator, the creator of the Pink Robe Chronicles, which is a spiritual gathering, a digital hush harbor of sorts, where we gather together to engage in wisdom sharing and truth telling. Where our imagination is unlocked, where we function from a decolonized imagination, to unlock, to engage our sacred memory as a sacred technology, Ashe, for us to retrieve, to restore, to re-member and restore ourselves in the ways of our ancient traditions and in the ways of our ancestors, without fear or without guilt that somehow we are doing so that is antithetical to the traditions that many of us grew up in, be it Christianity, be it Islam, in that way. Ashe. And so here we are after this. We experienced the clearing. The clearing is a more private space where those who subscribe to the clearing have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to engage in truth telling and wisdom bearing with one another, where we can talk back to the text, Ashe. And so for those of you who may be interested in joining us over in the clearing, I will go ahead and post the link right here on Facebook. And you can join and just let me know that you've joined by sending me a direct message. And if you join today, I will send you the link so that you can get into our private Zoom. Good morning. We have a lot of visitors today over on YouTube. Shout out to Minister Maya McCoy and the Coochie Church of TikTok. That's the name, friends. Ashe. We welcome you all. So she is streaming PRC live through TikTok. We welcome you all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to this space. I want to make sure, of course, you all know what it is. It is this week. The week is here. This is the week for the One Love Festival. The One Love Festival, the One Love Festival, that begins really on Thursday, June 27th. I'm going to come back to Thursday in a second, but Friday, June 28th, Saturday, June 29th. On Friday, we are really, really excited to be partnering again with the Ramcat in Winston-Salem. Doors open at 7. Tickets can be purchased at www.onelovefestival.com. We are excited to bring to you Dasan Ahanu and Eloquent Soul on Friday. Dasan is the poet laureate of the Piedmont region, a former Nasir Jones Fellow. Dasan is a member of the Zulu Nation. Dasan is hip hop ashe, and we are excited to welcome Dasan. We are also excited to welcome Alter Egos, the Alter Egos band. Alter Egos, the entire front line of the Alter Egos Go-Go band is all women. And so we are looking forward. Where are my DMV people, or all of my people who enjoy go-go music? You do not want to miss this. And it's actually not Saturday. They'll be performing on Friday. I'm sorry, I have an old piece of collateral up here. They'll be performing on Friday, Alter Egos, and then Alter Egos will also be joined on Friday the 28th by Black Future Cypher, which consists of Vaughn Vargas, Maya Elizabeth Lil Key, Akila Divine, and Blessed. We are super excited that they will be in the building. Charm City coming all the way to Winston-Salem. We are super excited. So that's Friday, June 28th. Doors open at 7 at the Ramcat. And then on Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., at the Enterprise Center, we are hosting our Artistic Soul Conversations. We are so excited, really, to continue to have these conversations that were started for those of you who came to the clearing, the digital clearing in 2021. We are excited to talk to people about what it took for them to get out of the proverbial boat, using the story where the disciple was afraid to get out of the boat and walk on water as commanded by Jesus. And Jesus was saying, oh, you have little faith. We know that there is so much in our community, and we know that our ancestral legacy bears witness to those of our ancestors who were innovators, who were entrepreneurs, who were creators, who were practitioners. And so we want to glean on that ancestral wisdom and witness, and also tie that to what folks are doing today and how they were able to get out the boat. So there will be entrepreneurs in the building speaking with us about their own journey, what it means for them to be an entrepreneur, what are some key things they have put in place to ensure their success, how they face what they do when they face obstacles, practical questions around how books are kept, what kind of LLC is appropriate for you. And so we have Coach Shayla Herndon Edmonds, who is the proprietor. She is many things, but also the proprietor, along with her spouse, of OMG Wellness Bar right here in Winston-Salem. Listen, her products are amazing. And if you could just Google her, Shayla Herndon Edmonds and OMG Herbal Goodness, to order all of the things. She also has a physical location where she and her spouse, she is in the kitchen, if you will, reciticing on connected with her ancestors and whipping up things to aid our healing, from body butters to tinctures and teas to making candles. Shayla is it. We will also be joined by Winston-Salem's own LaVey Lemon, Reverend LaVey Lemon. Listen, if you are from Winston-Salem, particularly the Happy Hills, then you know LaVey Lemon. LaVey is an author, a writer. She is also a poet. She's a healer. She is a healing practitioner that uses storytelling as a lane to heal folk, to heal communities. Ronnie, she is in those streets. She reminds me very much of you in your early days of organizing in the Pittsburgh community in Atlanta. So LaVey Lemon will be walking us through representing Healing Heights Unlimited. And then we have another Winston-Salem native, our very own Dr. Teddy Reeves. Teddy Reeves, PhD, the curator of religion for the Smithsonian National Museum for African American History and Culture, will be joining us. Teddy will be bringing opening remarks at our exhibit, which I'll come back to in a moment, at our exhibit, and he will also bring some thoughts to our Artistic Soul conversation. Teddy is a graduate of Parkland High School here in Winston-Salem and has gone on to do great things. Also a graduate of Hampton University and has gone on to do great things. Again, as I said, he's the curator of religion at the Smithsonian National Museum for African American History and Culture. We'll also be joined by attorney Rodney Beard. For those of you who have questions about your intellectual property, say for instance, the work that I post here online, is this my intellectual property or not? What are the steps that I need to take to make sure that my creations are incorporated, that my content is protected. Attorney Rodney Beard is coming all the way from Houston, Ashe, to be with us and to share words of wisdom to us. And finally, my brother Jamie Wooten. Jamie Wooten is really an innovator, maybe at least I want to say 10 to 13, maybe even 15 years back, Jamie Wooten saw where we were going digitally, and Jamie began using his website and using digital content to engage theological institutions, right? To advertise with his content, to spread the word about all things theology, Black church, Black theology, so more and more. He has grown now he's recently co-created a collectively, which is a social strategy institution that aids social organizers and organizations with everything from microloans to mental and emotional health support as they are doing this work. Jamie and his partners raised $2 million in 24 hours, Ashe, and Jamie is coming to talk to us about the importance of collective work and responsibility, and hopefully to give us some keys as to how, if we join together, we can do the same thing. So that is on Saturday, and that is 100% free, FREEE, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Enterprise Center. You can find that information on our website. I would also be remiss if I did not tell you that and I do not have the ad set up. Yes, I do. The entire weekend is being hosted by Osei. Listen, if y'all don't know Osei, the Dark Secret, baby, you are missing out. You see it. Osei is a radio personality and much more, a business person and much more, all things African diaspora, birth, legacy, lineage from Ghana. Osei, if you lived in St. Louis, you may know Osei. If you lived in Atlanta, you may know Osei from him being on the radio. And so we are excited that he will be here to host both Friday night and Saturday night. We are also excited that DJ SK will be our host DJ. Now, let me tell you something. This brother right here, I know some of you are looking alarmed, like, what's really happening? For the culture, listen, just watch. That's all I can tell you. Just watching. You're going to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see. So DJ SK will be our DJ. And then finally, let me get to Saturday. Saturday evening, we are definitely excited, equally excited. And we'll be joined, for those of you who came last year and you know Sub Rock, even if you know her beyond her coming to the One Love Festival, a dope MC, period. That's all I got to say. A dope MC. So Rock will be with us. We are so excited to continue to welcome our girl, Pink Rope Chronicles and the Clearing member. Girl, I was about to call you the Reverend, but you are revered. Let me tell you that. Chelsea Green and the Green Project. Friends, listen, if you have never experienced, well, let me just see if I could give you a little taste right quick. I can't do it now. It won't play for me. I was about to give you a little taste, but it won't play for me. But if you have never experienced the sounds, let me go back. the sounds of Chelsea Green and the Green Project as she strums the strings on that violin. You are absolutely missing out. Chelsea has been with us since 2022, and we are so appreciative. We know her schedule is extra busy, just as everyone else's is, all the other artists, and we just appreciate and look forward to Chelsea. She is a crowd favorite, and we look forward to her being with us as always. Introducing to the One Love stage, Brother D Smoke. Absolutely looking forward to this talented brother. Black habits, black medicine, everything black. Okay. Praise Black Jesus, praise Black Moses. Okay. If you are unfamiliar of what I am speaking, then you need to go ahead and do a little search on D Smoke. Pull up his song Black Habits. We just love him. I love him. I was introduced to him from the show that he was on. Was I think it was called, it was either Rhymes and Beats or Rhythm and Flow, something like that, where he won the competition, from Inglewood, California. He is a dope lyricist as well. He is also an actor. For those of you who watch the Mayor of Kingstown, he currently has a recurring role that he is in and is doing a phenomenal job. So we look forward to welcoming him to Winston-Salem, North Carolina for the One Love Festival on next Saturday. And then finally, let me say this. If you have not downloaded Mumu Fresh's latest album, The Healing, as she is on the Healing Tour, you are absolutely missing out. Malmina Yusuf, aka Mumu Fresh. I mean, it's hard for me to put into words the fact that she is joining us. Chelsea knows it has been a dream of mine to want to bring her, to have her here, and our schedules just never lined up. And I am beyond excited. I know that I'm going to absolutely fangirl out when I see her. I know I'm probably going to shed a tear or two. I know it. I know it. I know it. I just know it. And so, y'all, this is our lineup for the festival. It is dope. Okay, period. These are Grammy award winning and nominated people and folk here who sit on the Recording Academy board. These are independent artists. These are what I like to say, or at least I read in Mumu's bio, edutainers, right? So here, these are folk who have a message. This is message music. As we identify, the One Love Festival is in the vein of the Watts Festival, is in the vein of how music festivals were used to conscientize the community, to make sure that the message was elevated and spread. So this is not just something for entertainment. This is not just something because we want to get paid. As a matter of fact, the truth is we've yet to break any kind of way, even financially, where it has been beneficial to us to keep doing this, right? Ashe, which leads me to the 27th, June 27th, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Muse Winston-Salem is our inaugural art exhibition. This is our first inaugural, meaning first time. We have added this to the festival lineup. We are blessed, and I cannot express any bigger that the talent, that the giftedness that is within those that we have invited and who have accepted our invitation is on an international level. It's on an international scale. I mean, like, they are highly, highly, highly sought after people who have big audiences, and yet they are coming here. I'm going to say this and I'm going to jump off because, not jump off this live, just jump off of this for a moment because it's in my throat. I'm appreciative of my sister Irie, my comrade, Dr. Irie Session, who identified me. She said that I have been an innovator and a curator of experiences for the culture for a long time. She said that I am committed to the well-being of Black and Brown communities and to providing affirming experiences, right? Experiences that affirm who we are. She is correct. So Derek and I, alongside my spouse, are not new to this. And so we come because we do have a need. Ashe, I'm not going to skirt around it, and I'm not going to not say it, because folks will sit through a church service, honey, and wait for this moment. Ashe, yes, we will. And then some of you will jump up in lines and expect to receive some sort of blessing because you gave, and that's not the lens that I'm coming from. Because this is our inaugural exhibit, we have run into a few, I don't want, they're not snags, they're just things that we did not know because this is our first one. So the funds that we set aside for things that we did not know, like rainy days, there have been more rainy days than we've expected, and so we have an immediate need to raise $8,500. We're down. We started the weekend with 12,000. We're down to needing 12,000. We're down to 8,500. So I want to invite you to consider partnering with us. I'm going to place here in Zelle the ways that you, excuse me, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to place first here in on YouTube the ways that you can give. We also have a fiscal sponsor for those of you who are organizations and you have at least $1,000 to give. $1,000. June 30th is next weekend. You got $1,000 left over in your budget. You want to share it with us. We do have a fiscal agent, and if you DM me or email me at drmelvasampson@gmail.com, I will give you the information to our fiscal agent to whom you can get what you need to, so that you can get the appropriate tax dollar tax. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm just putting this here. And then we can move on. For those of you there is a huge lag on my part. But I'm just going to trust that y'all are with me. Like it is showing that y'all still on the announcements. Okay, so here I'm just going to keep going. So that's the need. It's an immediate need. It's an immediate need, and I'm not getting ready to sugarcoat it, because you know that's just not what I do. You know, it would be great if I had 8 folks who could give 1,000 and one to give 500. It would be great. It would be great. It would be great, and it would lift me. And so if you're feeling any kind of energy from me today, you are feeling the heaviness, the weight of creating, the heaviness of producing a future, the heaviness of living into a decolonized imagination. And so as there was something else that I wanted to share on today, and yet I could not shake off what I am experiencing in this very moment. And so what came to me, rested on my spirit, was Philippians 1:6, being confident of this, that God who began a good work in you being confident of this, that God who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Ashe. That God who began a good work in you, in us, will carry it on in completion. I want to talk about a great work still. A great work still. The opening lines of Brian Courtney Wilson's song, Great Work, captures really, right? If we think about, I want to backtrack into this. I have preached this message before, number one, disclaimer. And which is why I'm saying a great work still. And so I want to go back, and I'm sharing the same examples from then, because I want to move back from then to now. So I want to invite you to walk with me, to be with me in my authenticity, in my vulnerability, and my lived reality right now. I wish that more of us had the freedom to sit and to live in that which we feel in the moment. I know that there are my clergy friends and friends that lead other things that have to perform in a way as to not to let on that they are dealing with something, or that they have a need, or that they're overwhelmed, or that they're frustrated with community and or God, and that they have to still get up and they make the choice, Ashe, to get up and to perform in a way that does not give, that does not allow allow them to rest in where they are. I thank God for this space, and I thank God for my growth and I think my own agency and this community to be able to stand and bear witness to where I am. Ashe. So this particular song, this particular line is what captures my current reality. Sometimes there are obstacles in the road that can leave you feeling low and you don't know how to move forward. Sometimes there are turns. Sometimes there are sometimes there are turns you want to take, but the way gets hard to trace. And now you're wondering, how did you get here? I'm recalling that on January 2020, I was blessed to wake up in Johannesburg, South Africa, the night before my spouse and I stood on the grounds of Constitution Hall, which is a former prison and military fort, and now a living museum that tells the story to South Africa's journey to liberation. I stood on those grounds, vibing out at Afropunk, singing Sure Thing and Cranes in the Sky alongside singers. Now, let me pause here because, oh my goodness. Then in 2020, while One Love is 4 years old, our first iteration came in 2019 under the name Artists Unite, and I was not a partner. So in 2020, here I am in Johannesburg, in South Africa, on the grounds of Constitution Hall, a former prison and military fort where Winnie Mandela had been imprisoned. Now this living museum. There I was on the grounds at Afropunk, another festival for the culture. Hear what I say in January. This is even before March, Ronnie, before I even get to the point of view for the Love Under New Management retreat, which would not happen for 3 months later. But here I am in January 2020 at Afropunk, December 31st. Here I am standing on the grounds in the space of the continent, and I am experiencing all that one day I desire to do. Just hold on with me. And so here we are. I'm singing Cranes in the Sky, and I'm singing with Miguel and Solange. I'm sipping Musgrave pink gin and pink cucumber tonic water and a twist of lime. It was a dream then that I didn't know how or even when it would come true. Later, we would travel on to Durban and to Cape Town, immersing ourselves in the culture, learning the history, and visiting and honoring the sites of its freedom fighters. Over and over, I kept saying then, thank you, God. In my mind, I thought then, if this is how we're starting 2020, wow, like, let's go. Like, let's get it. I'd set my intentions already for that year. There were things that I declared to leave behind because they did not serve my future. Things, ideas, ideologies, beliefs, theologies, practices, people both dead and living, and places. If it did not create or curate a clear path toward the work I believe to be called to, if it did not affirm, if it did not liberate, if it did not lift up, if it did not honor my worth, things that got lost in the fire, if you will, I had declared to leave it in the past. Professional and personal relationships that had expired, playing small, dumbing down, comparing myself to others, putting other human beings on a pedestal while I resign myself to wallow in the muck, in the mire of regret, of shame, inadequacy, and or imposter syndrome. I decided to roll the stone away from the tomb that had become my heart. I released the dead, and also I released the stench of the dead. I left the continent of Africa feeling renewed, reassured, and affirmed. And when we arrived back home, y'all, I was booked and busy with grant cohort workshops, preaching dates in different cities, lectures at prestigious universities, an inaugural international retreat hosted by me, and learning that I was awarded a grant to write my first book. That was just the first 3 months of 2020. Then life for most of us went left. You'll recall, life for most of us went left in 2020. The world literally shifted as the global pandemic COVID-19 rapidly spread. A shelter in place mandate forced a national and global pause. Institutions, corporations, organizations, schools, small businesses, and the like scrambled to readjust. We cleared the grocery stores out of Clorox wipes, hand sanitizer, Lysol, alcohol, and toilet paper. We were in a panic mode, and for good reason. We had no idea what we were facing. We were clueless to the devastation we would incur, and that then over 6.3 million would be infected, and 190,000, I'm sure the number has risen, 190,000 of our family, our co-workers, our childhood and college friends, our spouses would lose their lives. Businesses tried to hold on but started furloughing their employees. Applications for unemployment benefits multiplied by the millions. Travel became restricted. School became remote. Church buildings closed and conferences were canceled. Publishing dates pushed back. Bookings were rescheduled. Defense dates were readjusted. New hiring frozen. Budding intimate relationships interrupted. This, coupled with the ongoing pandemics resulting from what Patricia Hill Collins terms the matrix of domination, most visible in interlocking oppressions of racism and sexism and classism and heterosexism and homophobia and ageism and militarism and more, coupled with the continuous images of Black Death, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Jacob Blake, and the fact that the police who murdered Breonna Taylor while she slept were not arrested then, and now we know were not even charged. And just as we reeled over the deaths of Kobe Bryant and civil rights icon Reverend C.T. Vivian and Congressman John Lewis, a shining prince, our Black Panther embodied Chadwick Boseman transition from time to eternity. The obstacles in the road called 2020 left many of us feeling low. And if we will tell the truth about it, our confidence was shot. Some of us went from booked and busy to lonely and anxious. The work that our souls must have even almost seemed frivolous to pursue in the midst of so much suffering. We are doubting whether we can pick up where we left off. We are wondering whether the momentary interruption in our plan will become a permanent disruption. This morning, I just wanted us to look back. I needed to look back. My soul needs to look back and wonder because what I'm facing. So I needed to go back to 2020. I needed to go back to a time where the odds were insurmountable. I needed to go back to remember when I did not know what the future would look like. I needed to remember just for a second. Oh my goodness, people paused entrance into their programs. Everything became online. And then we had this steep technological learning curve. People around me then, they appeared And the operative term here is appeared to have this laser focus in that season, but I couldn't seem to pay attention. And by the time it was our turn to do anything, it was as if there was not anything left. The grant money may have was already, according to folk, accounted for. Somebody was already doing writing on a particular subject. The loan for the house didn't go through, or somebody's cancer came back. Let me tell you, I just needed to fall right here for a second, because I'm sitting in that very seat right now while we are still in multiple pandemics, and while some of us have eased back our COVID-19 precautions. I want to tell you that in doing, in still reveling in the work that God has given both D and I, there is a way in which my back is up against the wall. Our backs are up against the wall. When God has given you witness, when God has given you a vision, it feels like the room has gotten smaller and everything has shut down and things are closing in around us. My face is breaking out. My heart is palpitating. And yet I am saying, God, where is this great work? I know that I heard what I heard. I know that the vision that you gave both of us, I remember clearly as I stood on the grounds of Constitution Hall in Johannesburg, South Africa, listening and being a part of Afropunk, that this was the ministry that you were calling me to, God. I knew, just as like when you called me to do this work of ministry, and I said it could not be me. Why? Because there were no models. There weren't any that looked like me. There weren't any models of ministry that allow for people to rest in their authenticity, that allow for people to relax this notion, this bifurcated lives of the secular and the sacred. There was no space where I could still do my two-step and not feel as if I was in contradiction. And how would this work? I was not married or partnered to this traditional kind of person, but God had partnered me with one who had a revolutionary spirit, with a revolutionary witness, who saw things far beyond I was able to. And yet here the Spirit is saying, this is the work that you two will do together. The text says that God, who created a great work in you, is able to complete it. And I just stopped by this morning to say, a great work still. Paul writes to this beloved community in Philippi, I am confident of this, he says. I am certain, I am sure, I am positive. As we say in the Black church tradition, I know that the one who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Overall, Paul is writing to the group to say thank you. Thank you for all of the support that you've given me over the years. Paul is saying thank you for the prayers. Paul is saying thank you for the money and the administrative service and the covering. He opens by saying that he is constantly praying for them. Paul knows that to be a follower of Christ is an affront to empire and the Jewish religious authority. We don't know for certain what he's addressing, but in the first few sentences of chapter 1, Paul is offering them encouragement in the midst of their questioning whether they're able to fulfill the mission, whether they are able to go out into the world and to share the gospel. Will they be able to complete what they've begun? Woo! Help me, Holy Ghost. Will they be able to complete what they've started? Will they be able to bring it to pass? Will they be able to survive? Will it be successful? will the work that their souls must have, will it rise to the top? Paul's declaration shifts their gaze. The text doesn't say that I'm confident that you, Melva, can do it. It doesn't say that I'm confident, Ronnie, that you will overcome it. It doesn't say I'm positive, Marilyn, that you will make it to the finish line. No. The record says, I am confident that the one, the who? The one. That the one that began a good work. What does that mean, Reverend? That means that while you said yes to the mission, you didn't initiate the mission. That means that the one who initiated the mission in you, in me, in us, is the one who is responsible for completing the mission. Paul says God will, not God possibly can, not perchance God might, not feasibly God should be able to, not conceivably God is capable of, but that God will. God will. Will is a verb. A verb describes an action, a state, or an occurrence. Will is used to express fortuity, to express capability or sufficiency. Here's my favorite definition, though. Will used to express the inevitable, as in the work that God has begun in us, as in the sound of our genuine, as in the work our soul must have, is unescapable, inexorable, fated. It is anticipated. It is bound to happen. It is unavoidable. Let me come back to what will means again here. Will used to express the inevitable is unescapable, inexorable, is fated, is anticipated, is bound to happen, is unavoidable. Why and how does Paul have so much confidence in the future, given the fact that when he dictated this letter, he was in jail? Why do Derek and I have so much confidence that though we are facing an immediate $8,500 deficit and an overall $22,000, why are we confident? Or let me back it up this way. Why are we performing confidence? Because sometimes, friends, you have to perform it until you can get to it. See, our grandparents used to say it like this: faking it till you make it. And then some of us would have a problem with that because we thought that it wasn't being authentic. But the performative is not always problematic. The performative is often a vehicle. It is often a carryover. The performative is what holds us in the liminal space between our need and between when it actually gets met. So you perform something until your body is able to retain, if you will, the movement, until your mind gets it, until your spirit clocks it and then absorbs it as its own. Hence, I think, calling for the universe and God to respond. And so why is it that even in the midst of this high water that I'm still waiting, that we are still wading through it? How is it that even in my desire to question God and to question whether the community really has our back, that even in the moments when I hear my mind saying, where are the people? Where are the folks for whom you called mutual aid? Where are the people? Not y'all, but where are the people for whom you gathered the folk? Where are the people? Where are they? Even when my mind mind attempts to live in that very low vibrational space, what is it in me that still says, get up and get on Pink Robe Chronicles. Get up, not so that you can preach to the people, but so that you can preach to yourself. How is it that I have this confidence? Or at least that I'm performing this confidence? What fuels this confidence? See, in my earlier version of this, I said that Paul was not disillusioned. But as I'm moving through it, I don't think that that's true, because I don't think it is possible in our humanity to not be disillusioned by humanity. I don't think it's possible, because we are human beings, because our systems are flawed, and because we are so entrenched in these flawed systems, it is impossible not to be disillusioned. Absolutely, 1000%. I think what Paul shows us, is that we can't stay in disillusionment. I don't think that Paul was not cynical or disenchanted or disappointed and dissatisfied. I think that the writer, if it is Paul, left that part out. Yeah. This I'm clear. Yeah. I am clear. I think that it is in this moment that if you are trying to, encourage one, that the point of Paul's message really here is to encourage those believers to go out and share the gospel. But Paul is not giving them the whole story here. Paul is not telling them how hard it will be to share the gospel. Paul is not telling them what they will face. Hey, God. Paul is not telling them how they might be imprisoned. Paul is not giving them the real of the real, because he doesn't want them to turn back. He doesn't want them to stop. And if the Great Spirit, if the mothers and our ancestors had showed me this vision, if Derek had showed me this vision in the beginning, I can promise you 1,000% that I wouldn't have done it. I could promise you 1,000,000% that I would have turned back. As a matter of fact, I could promise you that I would have cussed him out. Sure enough, had he told me just in year 2 how much of our personal money he had spent on this endeavor, with the belief that God and the ancestors had given him this vision. Paul is not fully telling the truth here. And I just want to lift that up. I need to lift that up, that while he is coming to encourage, I want to tell you, I want to let you know that if you are doing anything, if you are stepping out of the boat, if you are creating anything, if you are whatever it is that you are doing that is outside of the norm, that is outside of the traditional model, I'm telling you that obstacles are on the way. I am telling you that heartache and disappointment and disillusionment and cynicism and being disenchanted and dissatisfied is a part of it. But if we were to go along with this line of thinking, asking how, since Paul doesn't write it, he had not grown this way. Bible scholar Morna Hooker gives this. She says, because Paul's confidence about the future is grounded in what God has already done in the past. She says, Paul's confidence in the future is grounded in what God has already done in the past. Let me make a little detour to talk about this future. RG, you'll remember when we talked about producing a future a couple years ago. And essentially, this is what I'm tasked with. And essentially, this is what you're tasked with. And this is what Paul was tasking those who were following him with. But I want to talk about for a second what can happen for those of us who get stuck on our way to this creating and producing a future. I want to use the lens of Afrofuturism to do this. Ytasha Womack, I want to talk about these theoretical underpinnings. Afrofuturist Ytasha Womack, in her text Afrofuturism, Imagination and Humanity, she asked the question, who gets to tell our narratives? Now, this goes alongside the sacred memory work that Mama Itihari has designed, and myself, Ivory Session, and Reggie Williams co-facilitated at the Restoring Summer Institute just last week, where we talked about sacred memory as a sacred technology, where we confronted a colonized imagination. Confronting this colonized imagination invites us to ask, who is telling our narratives? Womack states that we can write our own stories and have a sense of agency in our own lives. This idea of producing a future is not, per Womack, emotive inspiration, but it is imagination. That at some point, that our emotion, if we stay right there, our emotion will cause us to walk away from it. Our emotion will cause us to say it's not worth it. Our emotions will make us super mad at the folk who are not assisting, super mad at the folks who are not engaging in reciprocity. Our emotions will just have us all in our feelings. But Ytasha says it's not about emotion, it's about imagination. For Womack, imagination creates levels of agency. When we have these levels of agency, we then have the ability to shape the world around us. She is suggesting that our imaginations have been hijacked. That imagination is foundational to storytelling and what I call story dreaming. We are often unable to move beyond a world where multiple pandemics are always in play. When our imaginations are hijacked by what we see in front of us, we become limited in what we can see around us or what is possible. Womack understands imagination as the extension of the resilience of the human spirit. Hence, imagination is a core tenet of Afrofuturism. Afrofuturism then is a way of looking at reality through a Black cultural lens. It is an artistic aesthetic, but also a method of self-healing and self-liberation. Afrofuturism then is an epistemology. It is a way of knowing. The belief in Black futures is a way of knowing and being. Afrofuturism intersects technology, imagination, Black culture, liberation, and mysticism. Afrofuturism as an emotive, it's the use of the imagination that is most healing because it helps people transform their circumstance. And there it is, that it helps people transform their circumstance. If I were to read Philippians 1:6 from an Afrofuturistic lens, then I would say imagining, Paul is trying to help them imagine themselves in the future because it will help them create agency. It will help them create agency. My goodness, today. Oh, well, Melva, go further. So Paul's focus was then on Jesus coming back. But because it is my belief that if Jesus were to come back in reality, let me run that back. It is my intention to focus not on whether Jesus is actually coming back, but to look into my siblings to see how Jesus comes back daily based on the way they perform the Nguzo Saba, based on the way that we perform collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, unity, purpose, creativity, and faith, based on the way that we engage and looking to the past to see and to produce our future is how I identify Jesus's ability to come back daily. But Paul's focus was on Jesus coming back. He and others thought that they would experience this coming in their lifetime. Paul's confidence in the Philippians is based on this notion of Jesus coming back. Thus, for Paul, the good work then is spreading the gospel. To achieve salvation, and the completion then is being present when Jesus returns. I'm messing here with this text to say that Paul's confidence, or Melva and Derek's confidence, is in the people who perform Jesus. Is in the people who perform the Nguzo Saba. It's in the people who perform the gospel. Come on, Fred Hampton ancestor, I hear you. It is in the people. He says you might try to kill the people, but you can't kill the revolutionary. You might try to kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. My God, today. And this is why he said all power to the people, friend, all power. And so my faith, my confidence is not in whether Jesus is coming back. My faith, my confidence is in the people who will perform, that understand that the work that we are doing is great. I want to make one more pivot this morning. I want to direct my attention, what I've already made it, directing this attention again. Let me just circle around and back. Less again, as I just said, on this second coming. Because if too we were raised with Jesus, if we too live in the power of an empty tomb, then we don't have to live in the anticipation of a rescue, because the same God that raised Jesus is the same God that raises us. Then we are the completion. Ha, ha, ha. Do you get it? Do you get it? If we too live in the power of an empty tomb, then we don't have to live in the anticipation of a rescue, because the same God that raised Jesus, the same God that raised us, then we become the completion. We become the completion. We are the completion. Do you get that? That the great work started at the level of sight, seeing beyond what is there. Listen, this $8,500 is not here right now. It's not in our bank accounts. It is not here. We do not see it. It is not tangible. But this completion, this great work calls for me to engage beyond the level of what my natural sight can see. Paul is saying that I believe that God started the work and will complete the work through you. That's it. It's not rocket science. Listen, we will honor our bodies and our spirits, and we will rest to revive from exhaustion. Resting, however, and apathy are not the same things. To rest then is to refresh, to repose, and to relieve. Apathy is the absence of passion, emotion, or excitement. We have to resist the temptation to become indifferent as a result of what we're experiencing. I'm talking to myself. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ashe, for partnering with us. Ashe, thank you for that pledge of $1,500. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ashe, that we have to resist the temptation to become indifferent. I'm preaching to me. I'm preaching to me. I have to resist the temptation to say, F these Negroes. got to resist it because it will take root and it will make me numb. This is the part of the work that we keep hidden. This is the part of the work that we don't talk about. This is the part of the work that we keep private. This is the part of the work we just want people to preach and to shout us. We want people to make us feel happy. We don't make space for people's vulnerability, for preachers' vulnerability, for leaders' vulnerability. It's not reciprocal. We just want to take. And we want to pump you up that you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. I'm not talking necessarily to those of you on here, those of you who have given, and those of you who don't have, don't fall back into your trauma-informed responses. I'm saying in general, those who are called to do a new thing, those who are on the fringe, those who are outliers, those who are marginalized because of our lenses, because of our interpretive lenses, because of our lived experiences, because of the way that we see, because of the way that we don't fit in the traditional model, because of the invitations we don't receive, because we are not traditional, because folks fear us, because they fear what we'll say, because we don't have the on par message, because we don't speak the same language. I'm telling you that there is a way that we can become disillusioned, that there is a way that we can become apathetic and just say we just don't care anymore. And I'm speaking to myself right in this moment. I'm saying to me and I'm saying to Derek that we need to resist the temptation to become indifferent as a result of what we are experiencing. I have to resist the temptation to say, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this next year. I have to resist the temptation to say, this is not worth it. I'm not really getting a return. I don't know who else I'm talking to, but I know I'm not talking to just me. Woo! You got to resist the temptation to say, it's just too hard, like the people not getting it. You got to resist the temptation to just, stay in a space of frustration because other organizations and agencies refuse to acknowledge a theology of sufficiency and understand that the earth is God's and the fullness. And so they think that you're trying to compete. You're not trying to compete. You're trying to collaborate. And so the energy that it takes for you to let other people know that you're not here to compete, that there's enough room for all, can be just overwhelming, because folk don't recognize, because we're so steeped in individualism and capitalism, that we only want what we can get for us, because we do not recognize and realize that if we all put our funds together in one pot, what the work that we can do, because for some it's not really for the culture, it's for an individual. We got to resist the temptation to become indifferent, to just start saying, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I'm not interested, I don't care. We got to resist the temptation to become indifferent as a result of what we are experiencing. We have to do as Reverend Whitney Baisden Bond reminds us in a former blog post on medium.com, where she says we have to find our communities of support, or we have to retrieve our imagination. I'm speaking to us, D. It ain't over. It's not over. It's not Monday yet. It's not over. It's not Monday yet. It is not Monday yet. We still have more than 24 hours. It is not over for us to watch God, for us to watch our ancestors work it out, for us to watch them do something miraculous in our sight. It's not over. After the first two stanzas of Wilson's song, he sings, but don't you give up until you see how God is ordering your steps so you can walk into your seasons. And friends, that's what I want to leave with you this morning. That there is still a great work inside of you. That God, who has begun a great work in you, is faithful to perform it. is faithful to perform it. So pick your purpose back up. Shake the disdain off and keep moving. Keep creating. Keep dreaming. Keep writing. Keep fighting. Keep developing it. God is doing a great work. A great work. God will complete it. A great work. Just look what God has already done. Now I'm going to tell you what God did back in 2020 when I first preached this in the midst of a shutdown, in the midst of a world pandemic. And then I'm going to move us to today. That in the midst when the world didn't know what was happening or what would come of us, child, Queen Bee dropped Black is King. Senator Kamala Harris was selected as the vice president running mate for the Democratic Party. The Monica and Brandy versus yielded 1.2 million live viewers on IG. Niecy Nash married Jessica Betts. Dean Nichelle Guidry and Sisters Chapel presented their first Lunch and Learn on grounding rituals. A great work. The sisters gathered for the Hush Harbor series on Friday nights. Dr. Tamora Lomax becomes a founding associate professor of the new Department of African American and African Studies at Michigan State University after having not been in a tenure track position. A great work. Reverend Whitney Baisdenbaum reminded us, gave us a lesson on sacred community as survival in her first published blog. Spoiler alert, back then Keisha from the Chi started running again in Chucalissa, Mississippi. It looks like the folks gonna come together to save the pink. They did save the pink. A great work. But for real, then Candace Bimbo became an Amazon influencer. Dr. Daniel Omatosho Black launched virtual spiritual time on Facebook. Misha Green brought Lovecraft Country to the big screen. Interdenominational Theological Center announced loan forgiveness for up to $5,000. Morehouse School of Medicine students receive $100,000 towards their student loan debt. Shonda Glad started her second year PhD work while continuing to do the work her soul must have, becoming. Camila Hall Sharp and Irie Session dropped their first book called The Gathering. Candace Simpson soothed our hearts with story time. Trisha Hersey Patrick told us the rest is our liberation. Reverend Dr. Starcy Wilson was named the president of the Children's Defense Fund. The great work. Let me run this back for you. Not only that was in 2020, but in 2024, Dr. Baba Daniel Omatosho Black was just awarded Georgia Author of the Year. The entire state of Georgia acknowledging his book, Black on Black, as Author of the Year. We know that not only did Candace become an Amazon influencer, but her book, Red Lip Theology, went on to sell thousands. And while Misha Green's Lovecraft Country did not continue on HBO Max, we know that she went on to receive other things. Camila Hall Sharp and Irie Session did drop their book, and now Camila Hall Sharp has earned a PhD, and not only is she the co-pastor of The Gathering, but she is a professor on the tenure track of Hebrew Bible and the director of the Doctor of Ministry program at Chicago Theological Seminary. You don't hear me today, huh? Yeah, back then Shonda Gladden had started her second year of PhD work, and now guess what? She is the Reverend Dr. Shonda Gladden, or the Reverend Shonda Gladden, PhD. What is the point that I'm trying to make? Back then Beyonce did drop Black is King. And then we know just this year, she done released a whole country album, taking us to higher heights and deeper depths. And while we still question whether or not our vice president is okay, we want her to blink twice. The very fact that she is and remains in executive office is still a feat to be spoken towards. And Niecy Nash and Jessica Betts continue to show us that love still wins. Friends, I am simply telling us, yes, Dean Nichelle Guidry and Sisters Chapel prevented their first lunch and learn on grounding rituals. And just this year, Dean Nichelle Guidry and her spouse welcomed a new bundle of joy. What am I saying? What am I saying? The point that I am making here, friends, is that in the midst of hell, or in the midst of murky waters, in the midst of obstacles, we still, via our imagination, via our sacred memory, have the ability to create that the completed work will still happen. Will still happen. It will still happen. And so I say, and am reminded, and close this way, Lamentations 3:19 through 24. That the thought of my affliction and homelessness is wormwood and gall, and my soul continually thinks of it and is bowed down within me. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope, that the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, that his mercies never come to an end, that they are new every morning. Great is God's faithfulness, for the Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in the Lord. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall walk and not be weary. They shall run. They shall run and not be faint. So I press towards the prize for the high calling in Jesus. There is still a great work, Ashe. A great work. A great work. A great work. And wherever you are, for I know that I am not alone. And I know that there are other needs, and folk have needs, and I know that. But I'm at capacity this morning. I'm at capacity, and I needed to give myself permission to be at capacity for holding other people's needs. I'm at capacity. Because often I have set my own needs aside to be present, to show up, to make the call, to stay on live for hours. I have foregone my own. I'm at capacity. So I'm requesting your help. I'm going to ask if Natasha or Carmen, any of you would go back up to the earlier parts of this live and pin the ways folk can give. I would be appreciative. We do have a fiscal sponsor. However, this is an immediate need. So if it requires you to, you got to take it through the red tape of getting it approved, if you to get a check. Then we will get with you on Tuesday. But this is an immediate need for vendors that need to be paid Monday. This is a big deal, our undertaking, and I almost let my fear prevent me Well, really, it's not almost. I do and did. This is really Derek. I want to just shout him out as we prepare to go over to the clearing. All of the things that you see that are happening, they are not me. Yes, baby, it's you. It's not me. It's not me. It is not me. It's Derek. It is his faith. It is his vision, one from the Great Spirits for our people. It is also his vision for us, for our family. I don't have that level of faith. I want to be honest with you. I do. I just want to confess. I don't even have that level of faith in people. I want to confess now because of my own trauma that stems in a family system. It is in Derek, the one whom other unhealed Christian black women, even some at one point was my mother-in-law, God bless her, who kept telling me that he's not the one for you because he's not saved. Kept telling me that he wouldn't do anything but take me down because he wasn't the package. They said he didn't look physically like the package. There was no way that he could be what God had for me, this powerful woman. And for years, I let that poison, I let that stench tarry in my spirits. I let it walk around inside of me. It caused me to hurt him in unimaginable ways. To say things like, "You're not it. Clearly, you're not it." Along with the toxic theology that I was taking in, that even though I didn't want that model, I thought that that was the model that I needed, and clearly Derek didn't fit that model, so he couldn't be my partner. And every time the dust would clear, Derek would be there. Not waiting, but he would be there. This year in October will make our 19th year of marriage. The year of the woman. And our 29th year together, on and off. And I'm saying to you today out loud so that the world will hear it. A lot of what you see in me is not me. And hear me for all my black feminists and womanists who think, oh my God, what? This is not about a gender construct. This is about partnership.
And he is a womanist.
And he's back here, he said, Derek just said out his mom out, he said, and I am a womanist. If you on here and you know, we had a little situationship in the past, pre-Derek, bless your heart. But this is what I want to say. There is not one of those beings, Ashley. Not one. Even though in the moments prior to and sometimes in the midst of those breaks, that this is what I want, this is it right here, and this is it. The older I get and the more wisdom I acquire and the more I sit heavily into the work that my soul must have. There is not one being who can sit in it at the level, who cannot be intimidated by, not feel jealous by, not guilt me because of my need to travel and work. There is not one. And so this One Love Festival is as a result of the one love that we share. It is as a result for him seeing, not to be cliche, but the best in me, for identifying things in me that I am still unpacking and identifying in myself. That the one for whom the ancestors sent to me, that I almost walked away, not because there was any deficiency in him, but because of the deficiencies that were in me that I had taken on from other people, from the toxic theology that they were feeding me, from the imbalanced models of current Christian ministry, of partners in ministry, and in the ways that we only live out the church in a particular kind of institution. I'm telling you that the faith to believe, or the dream that I had as I stood on the grounds of Constitutional Hall, really was a dream that I had in the mid-1990s, was to do a women's empowerment tour like the Total Tampax U and the Black Women's Expo. It was my desire, following the muse Iyanla Vanzant. I could not see where I would be, but Derek did. And oftentimes he would share with me and I would say, who are you talking to? What are you talking about? I don't know. This ain't it. But let me tell you something. When we talked and he said, tell me your dreams. He said, babe, tell me what you want to do. I'm done. He said, tell me what you want to do. Tell me what you want. Not in this patriarchal, because I'm a man and I can make it happen, but because I'm your partner. Because I'm your partner, and however I can partner with you. And because as your partner, I know that sometimes there are seasons when one partner can see further than the other. And right now, baby, I can see further than you. When an institution tried to chin check me and had our future in the balance, it was Derek, along with the words of our dear sister who said, our dear sister, Dr. Kosa, who said, you already an institution. Let's build. Let's build. This year, we thought it was the biggest last year, but this year is the biggest. The biggest. You tell me how Chelsea Green, critically acclaimed vocalist and violinist, vice chair of the trustee board of the Recording Academy, whom I met because I watched her live stream during the quarantine where she was playing the violin. And I jumped in her live, and then I preached about her, and she jumped in our live, and we've been connected ever since. It's coming to Winston-Salem. You tell us how we brought Blitz Bazawule in 2019. Blitz, the ambassador, the same Blitz who is the best-selling author for his book, The Scent of Burnt Flowers, the same Blitz that just got a deal from Warner Brothers for his project, The Black Samurai, the same Blitz who directed and won a Grammy for Beyonce's Black is King, the same Blitz who directed The Color Purple, the reboot, the musical that we all went to see in December 2023. We brought him here, but it wasn't on my faith. It was on Derek. I just want to confess today. for us to bring Tara Lord, for us to bring Eric Roberson, for us to bring Masiki Scales in the Common Ground, for us to bring Desan, Alter Egos, Akila Divine, Maya Elizabeth, Lil Key, Von Vargas, Bless, for us to bring Alter Egos, for us to bring Ciroc, D Smoke, Mumu Fresh, and Chelsea, for us to bring us Anjubar Matoye, for us to bring the National Museum of African American History and Culture, for us to bring Shayla Herndon Edmonds, Jamie Wooten, Rodney Beard, and Reverend LeVay Lamont, for us to bring them. And partnering with Tripoli Gallery. Because after this, after the exhibit shows here, it's going to the Hamptons. Y'all don't see it. And so I want to invite you. I'm inviting you to join with us. Ashe. So 2 things as I close. Go to my timeline. Thank you, Dana, for you are so creative. I wish you had time to work with me to post for us, because you are so creative. And the way that you work this Instagram, I mean, I'm not too shabby myself, y'all. Since May. Since May, we have grown. I've grown because I'm the one who controls the account. Our following from 300 some change to 961. My God, today. We are a staff of 2. Really 4 if you count the girls. We are backlining. We negotiating buyouts. We talking to sound people. We are doing logistics and transportation. Listen, and so we want to install this art show with the level of diligence that the artist expects and deserves. And so we just invite you to join with us. And so share the live that I did, or the video that I did on my timeline. Share this. Thank you for those who have pledged. The ways that you can give are on. Thank you for those who are purchasing tickets. Thank you. And yes, don't stop purchasing tickets. You might say, I can't do anything else, but I can purchase tickets. Do not stop purchasing tickets. We still need you to purchase tickets. Still do that. Ashe. We're going to walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay? And just be with me this week and just wait and watch and see how God works it out. For those of you, because I feel you in my spirit, who are feeling away because you don't have nothing to give. You are like the woman who says, all I had was this little oil. Baby, sing your energy and your prayers and pray down that the Spirit might open up the windows of heaven and pour us out a blessing, because what you pray for me comes back to you. Ashe, ashe, ashe. All right, y'all. I'm headed over to the clearing. For those of you, I will post here, who want to join us in the clearing. Oh, well, here, that's not what I wanted to do. So here I've posted again the ways you can give. And now I'm going to post for you a link if you want to come join the clearing, which is a subscription community, what I consider to be a nominal fee. It's a monthly subscription of $30. I invite you to come on and join with us, where we now are heading over to Zoom, not for our usual long period of time because I'm so late, I've gone over time, but where we get to talk back to the text. Ashe. You can do so by hitting that link, and then if you would just inbox me or email me at drmelvasampson@gmail.com, then I will send you the link, and then I'll go ahead and send you the welcome with how it works. Ashe.